This is the plaintiff, Jared Holzer. He says the careless defendants failed to obey a stop sign while riding his motorized scooter and slammed into him at an intersection where he had the right of way. When he demanded payment for the damage, the louses put in a claim for bodily injury with his insurance company, and now everything is one big mess. He's suing for $1,468.65, the amount he's owed. These are the defendants, Vanessa and Nicholas Laura. Vanessa says the plaintiff has an ever-changing story about what happened, and all she knows is he hit her son, then bombarded him with questions while he was on the ground unconscious. The shady guy never reported the accident to his insurance, and they think he's trying to pull a scam on them, and they're not paying him a penny. They're accused of denying liability. The defendant filed a countersuit for $500 for hospital bills.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says the defendant slammed into his car with his scooter and he wants money for what it's going to cost to repair. But the defendant says the plaintiff crashed his car into her son and chastised him while he lay in the road with a concussion. Oh, him? No way. It's the case of Scooter Glibby.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
All right, Mr. Holzer, what happened?
Hi, how you doing, Judge? I was driving down Vandenberg Ave, going about 20 miles an hour as I was about a block and a half from my apartment, looking to pull into my parking lot. I was driving with my fiance. As I passed Clark Avenue, I heard a huge thud on the back of my car. I instantly stopped the car. I looked back.
Back of your car? The back of your car?
Directly the middle of my car.
The middle of your car towards the back, meaning your body had already passed at the point of impact.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So you hear it behind you. And what was, you heard a thud, and did you know what it was?
I didn't know what it was.
So what happened?
And I stopped. I pulled over. I saw a teenage boy with a motorized scooter. He had no helmet on, so I assumed that he hit his head pretty hard. I thought I blew the stop sign. I looked up. He had the stop sign. And I instantly got it. I helped him up off the ground. The girl behind me and me, we called the police and the ambulance. We called his father. I made sure he was okay. I sat him down. He was trying to get up and walk it off, but he clearly was concussed. And the neighbors came out and all said they saw him flying down the road in the motorized scooter. And he obviously didn't see the stop sign or didn't observe it, whatever.
Was he with anybody?
I believe he was with a friend, yeah.
And did the friend say anything?
The friend said, I told you to stop at stop signs. Your mom's going to kill you.
Okay. So what happened, Mr. Laura?
So I was on the scooter, and, I was with my friend, and I was going downhill, and, I couldn't stop.
How fast were you going?
I don't know how fast I was going.
You had a stop sign?
I don't really know. I didn't see it.
Do you seriously not know that there was a stop sign there for you?
No, I didn't see it.
How about you, Mom? Have you been by there, and do you know there was a stop sign there for him?
Yeah, I did see that there was a stop sign there, but from what my son had told me and his friend had told me, Mr. Holzer grabbed my son aggressively when they impacted on the car, and he was like, "Yo, you're okay," and he just grabbed him aggressively, and I don't
grabbed him aggressively
why.
to say, "Are you okay?"
Mm-hmm. What did?
So when I woke up, I was really dizzy, and I
did
got
you
really
lose
fast,
consciousness?
I believe so, yeah. Because when I woke up, it was black, and I was really dizzy after.
Okay.
So I got picked up aggressively. He's like, "What's wrong with you?" And then my friend said, he got hit by a car, and then I fell because I was still dizzy, and I got up and we started walking to the grass, and his fiance, she said, go to sit on the grass, so I just sat on the grass.
Okay, well, whose fault was this, Mr. Laura?
Well, he said it was my fault, so I just said it was my fault. But at the time, I didn't know.
Is it important to you to know whose fault it is? Are you trying to tell me that you have never figured out whether it was your fault or not, and who had the stop sign?
I assumed it was my fault because it made sense because he told me it was my fault, so I assumed it was my fault.
Well, didn't you just look up and see a stop sign that you'd missed?
No, because I was dizzy and stuff.
Okay.
So
what about your friend? Was your friend telling you, dude, I've been telling you need to stop at stop signs. Your mother's going to kill you.
He just told me I was dumb.
So you, Mr. Holzer, what efforts did you make to get the car fixed? You know, because $1,468 is a big chunk of change. And I know that you made some efforts to make it lower. What efforts did you make?
I did. So my fiance had reached out to somebody who had did some work on her car, but the person flaked on her. And then I went back to the Laura's. I showed them the quote was $1,500. I felt bad because they said they didn't have the money, so I went and reached out on Facebook actually to some guy who I know used to own a shop, and he actually said I'm an insurance guy now. I don't even have the shop anymore.
Right.
So two different people, and they just I can't fix the car. I don't know any other mechanics, so I had to go to Plaid Motors, which is a pretty reputable place.
Right. And then go ahead, Ms. Laura. What did you want to say?
I'm sorry. That's not how it happened. He never showed me an estimate. He called my husband and told my husband four different prices. He first turned around and said it was going to be $60 because he knew a guy. Then he turned around and said it was going to be $250 because the guy that he first knew didn't come through, and then he had somebody else to do it. Then he said $500. No, I'm sorry. Then he said $850, and from $850 he said $1,500. Then he said that because we were neighbors, he was going to do it down to $850. My husband was.
You should have hurried up and paid the guy, because you paid him $0, and now he's suing you. So if he was willing to take $850, right? But I have one estimate in front of me, and that estimate's for $1,400. And have you ever had body work done? If you say you've never gone through this, I guess you've never had body work done, right?
No, but when I called him on Saturday morning, and when I told him, I said I had a body guy, so we can go and look at an estimate, and if I can get pictures. I didn't get any estimates. I didn't get any pictures. What I got was the estimate and the pictures when I got the small claims court that I was getting sued. He never showed me anything. He never showed me two estimates. He never showed me anything of that.
True.
Neither me nor my husband.
And according to you, that's not true. And what do you say, Mr. Holzhauer?
The whole entire correspondence was with Mr. Laura, and he came over to my apartment.
Meaning the dad.
Yeah, they live around the street from me. So I came and I got the quote, and I showed him the quote, and I said, hey, I know this is a lot of money. Let me try to reach out for somebody else. Why don't you look out for somebody else, and let's get this for as cheap as possible. I want to get my car fixed,
Right.
I definitely didn't change my story. I definitely was trying to get them the cheapest price possible.
So
in the beginning,
did he try to find somebody to do the work, or you didn't want them to find somebody?
He said he was going to, but then he said he couldn't. That he couldn't find anybody.
That's not true.
To be honest with you, I went and got a second quote, and I didn't get it on paper because they said there's no way they're going to beat that number. So I didn't even get it written up. So I just kind of went about my day.
Mr. Laura, do you work? Do you have a part-time job or anything?
No, I don't do any of that.
No?
The one thing I do sports. I do sports. I'm doing any work.
Okay. You might want to get a paper route or something, because mom's going to get stuck holding... Well, it is not accurate that mom's going to get stuck, because neither mom nor dad have anything to do with this. This verdict is going to be against the minor, okay? Because there are some very specific circumstances where a parent is responsible for the child's acts. And this is not one of those circumstances in the state of New Jersey or in most other states. He's not a 6-year-old that did something where he should have been supervised. He's 14. You are a very lucky man, Mr. Laura, that you're not in a wheelchair talking to me. Because if you're going down hills with no way to brake, this accident could have been a hell of a lot worse, where you would come out a hell of a lot worse. Do you understand that? Especially if you have a friend who's telling you that, this isn't the first time. I mean, you need to be careful. By the way, according to you guys, it wasn't motorized, right? Was it motorized or wasn't it?
No.
It's just, you were just going that fast on a regular one because it was downhill and it's fun. Right into traffic. Do you have a death wish, Mr. Laura?
No.
Okay, because you know what? You've caused your parents a lot of heartache, and the last thing they need is more heartache. Okay? Because you've got a $1,500 debt now, and you've got them sued in court. You've got them trying to negotiate settlements. Maybe you could just do them one favor and stay alive and be a little more careful. How's that for a plan?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. On your counterclaim against him for $500 for personal injury, which you would never do, but you filed a counterclaim against him for personal injury, 0. And on the $1,468.65, I am finding him in favor of the plaintiff. I know that's hefty, but unlike a lot of plaintiffs, he actually was trying to get it paid for, like trying to get it lower for you. And, you know, I mean, he doesn't have to do that. He could just get the work done by a reputable place. And I know it seems hefty, but that's what it costs to end up, once you hit the paint, that's, you know, it costs money. It always costs more than you think it costs, body work, which you wouldn't know if you've never been in a car accident. You wouldn't know that. $1,468.65, verdict for the plaintiff.
Thank you, Chuck.
Thank you.
So the plaintiff prevails. He's going to get what he was seeking, the $1,468. But the defendant, who is going to have to pay it, really is the teenager, Nick. You heard what the judge said to you. What are you thinking?
I don't know how I'm going to pay it, but find a way. Yes.
And be more careful.
And to be more careful, yeah.
Mr. Holzer, I assume you're okay with this. You were really decent to try and help him out, but you did the best you could, didn't you?
Yeah, I didn't want to get to this point, but yeah, I'm just glad it came out so that I had to get it paid for.
All right, Harvey, this is an interesting twist with a judgment against a young man like that. What do you think?
You know, Doug, the law varies from state to state. There are some states that absolutely require what happened in this case, which is that a mother supervise a child in a reasonable manner. But there are other cases where a mother or a parent is automatically responsible for what a kid does. Other states where it's only willful misconduct where the parent's responsible.
How can you tell if a signature is forged? I sign my name differently every time.
This question goes straight to the heart of what we call handwriting analysis. And I guess the experts now that you see in court, they'll usually call themselves question document examiners or forensic document examiners. And their job is to take a look at a signature or a document and figure out who authored it, whether they can say definitively who signed it or who wrote it, or whether they can say probably. They have different standards that they might impose. And it's some people think it's just voodoo, and that it's.
I mean that you or I could look at something and say it matches or it doesn't the same way.
Right.
Now they have like little tiny tells, like the little. You know, they may be more observant than we are, but either you can see it or you can't see it, right?
Right. And they do have, in fairness, they have standards and they have board certification, and they do have. It's different from fingerprints, let's say, because a fingerprint is static. It never changes. And if I have fingerprint A, which is a question fingerprint, and fingerprint B, which is a known fingerprint, what we call a latent and a known fingerprint, you can make a comparison and use points of comparison, which are accepted, a certain number of points of comparison, to make a definitive comparison and say, this thumbprint or fingerprint
came
was
from
left
that finger.
Right. But handwriting is not static, it's dynamic, and it changes over time. If you look at your own signature from 10 or 15 years ago, it probably doesn't look that much like the one today.
Yeah, I'm lazier. I just get lazier and lazier. If you get me at a register, it's like a line. It's just a line.
Right, but the people who do the analyses will use points of comparison and different things and characteristics to compare.
So the answer to her question is, it's tough.
It is tough. It is tough. But in courts,
there's a lot of conclusions that are inconclusive.
Right.
That's the conclusion.
But a lot of people think you have to have an expert because there's handwriting or a signature. But a lay witness, any witness can say,
yeah, I recognize that's my husband's signature.
I know my husband's signature. That's it.
Right.
And, an attorney or another litigant might object and go, well, I object to that. They're not an expert. Well, they don't have to be. They know.
They've seen you sign.
Yeah, they know it. They've seen it, and that's admissible. But question document, forensic document analysis, it's controversial.
That's going to do it for us now, and we will see you for the next session of the People's Court.